Welcome into the Sports Buffoons podcast. Back again, once again, to the Sports Buffoon Studios here out of Lenexa, Kansas, of course. Good to be back with you all again for another week to talk some Chiefs and football in general and whatever else is on our damn minds right now. It could be about anything, just about at this moment. So, anyways, I got JG to my right. Tanner is busy getting harassed at work or something. I have no idea what he's doing, but he is not with us for this show, I don't think. So, anyways, JG, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. It's interesting that you brought that up because you thought you said that Tanner might be harassed at work or something that.
Could be.
So isn't there like a, what do they call that? Jungle law or some shit like that?
Yeah, I just,
if you're a female and you're harassed at work, like you should tell somebody. And I fully agree with that, man. If you're being harassed at work, please say something because like that's the worst thing that could happen to you. Just be quiet and then just let somebody do whatever they're going to do. And it's the worst thing that can happen, man. So just say something.
Yeah, silence is violence too. So
yeah,
people
absolutely
need to speak up about this.
Silence is violence. So do not let yourself be like Tanner and be harassed at work because that is probably exactly what the F is happening to him right now.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. But we're wishing for the best for him, and he'll come out okay in the end. I'm hoping.
I don't wish the best for him because he's a guy. I'm looking out for my females out there. He's a guy, and he brought it on himself. He made some interesting decisions in his life, and they're going to come back to bite him in the you know where, and that it happens, man.
I think he's being restricted as part of the problem. So. Hopefully he can get that cleared up. But either way, if we see him, we'll see him. I know last week's show was like almost 2 hours long, so believe me, guys, that's not going to be the case today. We're going to pretty much get to the point here pretty quickly in this one.
And for those of you who are getting tired of us talking about that topic, how about those Chiefs? How about those Chiefs?
Yeah, how about
who doesn't? Who doesn't want to talk about the Chiefs, man?
I did think it was funny that the sign this year, the logo for the flags, that's given away for McDonald's and all that at the beginning of the year, that was the slogan was "How about those Chiefs?" Kind of like we know Cole obviously from YouTube, but when you think about it, this year, "How about those Chiefs?" is probably not a great thing to even bring up because I don't know if I want to ask anybody how about those Chiefs. I don't think it's really a how about anything for this organization right now. I think they're very lost in a lot of ways, and they're lost and stuck at the same time. And I think it's going to come down to a lot of guys at the top of the food chain making some big decisions this offseason to cut some heads off and find some new pieces to add in the coaching staff and the organization itself. And I think that's the only way to get this thing back on track is to kind of start over in a lot of ways with a lot of the schematics of the way things are designed with this organization, because what used to work before has been caught on to, and we're seeing the Eagles even kind of go through their own version of this, not to the same degree, but I think both the Chiefs and the Eagles in a lot of ways have been figured out, and that's part of why we're seeing a big regression there with Philadelphia as well. So Jason, we saw this past weekend a very, very frustrating Chiefs game with the Texans. The Chiefs were in this game the entire way through, and honestly had absolutely an opportunity to win this game throughout the process, other than we came down to one decision by Andy Reid, in my opinion, that I think really did cost the team the game. And there, yes, you can talk about the drops, you can talk about things like that, but at the end of the day, that 4th and 1 from our own 31-yard line, not converting on that decision, in my opinion, did cost the Chiefs the game. And maybe we can talk about that for a minute and what your thoughts were on just the overall game plan and what you thought of Andy Reid in that situation and the team.
I think that Andy Reid is conditioned to coming through in that moment because that's what all of us are used to. And I think that Andy Reid needs to, at this point in the season, have an adjustment and realize that you can't call plays the way that you used to call plays. And I understand that, when you're a 3-time Super Bowl champ like he is, you go all in, man. Like, that's the mentality, and I understand that. And I don't put any of this on Andy Reid, but at the end of the day, if a guy doesn't catch the pass, you're not the same team that you used to be. And so, yeah, I mean, I could go either way on that. I'm not going to sit here and say that Andy made the wrong decision. I just think that all of us who want to sit there and criticize the organization, like, we have to think of it from top to bottom, and we got to think of this as a very wide-ranging topic. I'm not going to sit here and blame Andy Reid for one freaking call. I'm not going to sit there and talk about one freaking Travis Kelce drop. And I'm not going to sit there and talk about one Brett Veach missed draft pick. Okay. I'm going to sit there and talk about the whole freaking thing. Like, we have to have a wide ranging topic here of where we talk about the fact that everyone has failed. Okay. I'm not going to nitpick and say that Andy Reid, crap the bed, or all these receivers drop the ball, or Brett Veach doesn't know how to draft. And all three of those things actually might be true, boys and girls. But guess what? We're a team. This is a team sport. So let's hold everybody accountable. And the worst thing that can happen to the Chiefs right now is that we actually make the playoffs. I hope you guys are all listening to me right now, because we got a lot of Chiefs fans out there that are just, they're sitting there looking at that freaking schedule, and they're like, oh my gosh, man, if we could just do this, and if those other teams could do that, guess what, man? The worst thing that could happen is that the Chiefs make the playoffs. You know why? Because that will validate everything that we've done to this point in the season. That will validate Brett Veach in making turd draft picks over the last few years. Okay. So the worst thing that could happen is that we make the playoffs, probably get our ass kicked in the first game. I mean, God forbid that we actually win a playoff game and then lose and not make the AFC championship. And you know what, man? Like, it's just, I'm ready to not make the playoffs, because that's the best thing that could happen to this organization. Because you know what's going to happen if we actually make the playoffs? Then all of a sudden, Brett Veach becomes validated. And you'll have a certain segment of Chiefs fans out there that are going to sit there and say, well, you know what? Brett Veach has actually done a good job. And we're not actually going to hold him accountable right now, because we did make the playoffs. We made all these freaking AFC championships and Super Bowls. So Brett Veach is probably doing a good job right now. I don't want that to happen right now. So, I mean, that would be my argument right now for the Chiefs making the playoffs, is like, that's the worst thing that could freaking happen, because I want the Chiefs to fail right now, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to hold Brett Veach accountable. You're not going to hold him accountable if he goes to the playoffs, and whether they win or they lose, well, you know what? It was a down year for the Chiefs, but at least they made the playoffs. I'm not trying to validate Brett Veach ever, okay? It's not what you've done for me in the past. It's what you're doing for me right now and what you're going to do for me in the future. And right now, it's not looking like a whole hell of a lot. So that's why I want the Chiefs to lose. Mike, I feel like you probably agree with me on this, but let's hold some people accountable. And I'm not just talking about Brett Veach, because I can sit here and talk about him all day. We all know about his failures. You talked about what you thought maybe Andy Reid had in a failure in the last game. Hey, guess what, guys? Andy Reid has had a lot of failures. He's had a long career. And guess what? All these wide receivers that drop passes, they've had failures, okay? I'm not going to hold any single one person accountable. But my gosh, let's start holding the entire team accountable. And that starts with the front office, and it goes all the way down to the freaking practice squad, okay? Let's hold everybody accountable at the same time and just not stick to one person. because that's what I'm here for. And my gosh, God forbid if we make the playoffs and win a game, that would be the worst freaking day of my life, because then that's going to give Brett Veach validation to say, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and keep sucking for the next couple of years with my freaking draft picks. And that's the last thing that we want to happen right the freak now.
Yeah, I don't think the playoffs are very likely, anyways. But I mean, for me in general, what I was kind of just getting to was just that moment in time to me during that situational call was something I did not agree with in that specific environment of a game, because the fact that the offense was already struggling throughout the game, the defense was playing great. CJ Stroud was very uncomfortable and making some terrible passes throughout this game, and you were in a situation where if you do not convert that on the 31-yard line, you're giving them an automatic 3 points, which turned into actually 7 in the end. And to me, it's this bad situational play calling, bad situational management of the game as a head coach. And especially when a few weeks ago, previously, the Chiefs wouldn't go for it on a fourth and short situation from the opposing team's like 44-yard line. So for whatever reason, the 44-yard line of the opposing team is something that you want to punt, but you're playing a defensive game that's all about ball control and field position with the Texans, and you decide to go ahead and go for it. And if you don't convert, the game's probably not going to be going in your favor at that point. So that's the main thing that I had a problem with in that situation. I just think it was bad coaching all the way around on that situation. But no, as far as what you're talking about on a macro scale with this organization, you're right, because it's not just one thing or one situation to one person. I mean, it's been Travis Kelce making a mistake. It's been Patrick Mahomes. It's been Rashee Rice. It's been the running game not working. It's been the play calling. It's been even at time the defense with playing too much Chamari Connor and stuff like that. It's hurt the team. And so I mean, for as far as the whole playoff talk and what you were talking about, that's already out of my mind. That's already something that I don't even think about anymore, the playoffs, because it's not happening. The Chargers just won last night, by the way, or I guess today's Wednesday, 2 nights ago, on Monday Night Football. So to me, it's one of those things where this thing is already out of reach, and it would take a miracle for it to work out in the Chiefs' favor. But even then, I don't want that miracle to happen. At this point, I'm already looking into draft prospects. I already did a little bit of that last night, and I'm getting to look at mid first rounders now, which is something I haven't gotten to do in a long time. I've been looking at guys that are probably going in the back half of the first round, and now it's kind of exciting to get to sit there and look at better quality prospects there in the middle of the first that could be available. So that's already where my mind's at. At the same time, am I going to go out there and root for the Chiefs to lose games? No, I'm not. I am still okay with us winning games, but I do not care for us getting to the playoffs because there's no point. This is not a playoff team whatsoever. So, there's just too much to work on and too much to worry about fixing. And part of what we talked about, I think just a week or two ago, Jason, was that we do need to miss the playoffs, because that is the only way to make change happen with this organization. Because if you squeak in, somehow you win 10 games and squeak in there, all of a sudden we're like, well, see, it all worked out okay. Made the playoffs at least after such a bad season. See, it's all going to be okay. Won 4 games in a row and all this other stuff. And that's not the way we need to do things going forward for the future of this team, because we're stale and we're stuck in the same situation. And it's not getting any better until something does change. So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, just growing up with the Chiefs and the Royals my whole life, it's just like our fan base is just way too loyal. And there's something about being a loyal fan, which is amazing. You should be a loyal fan, but you can be a loyal fan to a fault. And I think that's what we've been used to over the years as Royals and Chiefs fans, is just like, we're going to allow organizations to fail. And it happened with the Royals for, my gosh, I don't know how long. And then it happened for the Chiefs for a long time. It's just like,
well, the Royals had a built-in excuse because they don't have a salary cap in the MLB like the NFL does. Yeah. So for the Royals, it was always like you kind of forgave them because it's like we didn't have the bankroll of like the Yankees and Dodgers and so on. So the Royals is like, well, we're going to suck for 30 years, but if we can just draft right and get the right prospects, we can become a good team, and we did.
And you can still refuse to show up to the games, and that's what pleased me in this last game, when the Chiefs lost, there were boos all over the field. And it reminded me of the Eagles fans. And I freaking I can't stand the Eagles, but I love Eagles fans because you know why? They hold their teams accountable. It's not just the Eagles, it's the Philadelphia 76ers, the Phillies. That fan base will hold those teams accountable if they fail or if they're mediocre. And that's something that we've never seen in Kansas City. And so that's something that I was pleased at the fact that I could hear those Kansas City Chiefs fans booing in the stadium, because this is kind of it's a new situation in Kansas City sports where, oh, wait a second, we're not just going to sit there and cheer for our team, and we're not going to cheer for all of their failures. We're actually going to start holding them accountable. And so I was very pleased to hear all of those boos in the stands in that Houston game.
Well, I want you to understand one thing. This franchise, this fan base has always held the team accountable for the longest time. And, maybe I need to refresh everyone's memory, but it was before Andy Reid got here that we flew the banner over the stadium. It was the whole Save Our Chiefs movement, and got Scott Pioli fired eventually. We were begging for change. We had a blackout game where we faced the Raiders, and we were supposed to wear all black to the game. But yeah, the fan base themselves put together a fund between multiple dozens of Chiefs fans to fly that plane above the stadium to show Clark Hunt, hey, make a freaking change. And they did. They went out and got the best head coach possible, ended up getting the best GM possible that later got fired, of course. And, everything changed ever since. Everything's been incredible since 2013. And so we haven't had anything to complain about. We felt that 2012 season and we're so hurt by it that, now the 2013 and on has been going on. We haven't had a reason to boo. But now, now we know this team is better than this or should be better than this, but they've become complacent. And the coaching staff's become complacent. And so that's the problem I have. We have a bunch of guys on the staff that don't make any sense. And I know every YouTuber and everybody else has talked about this throughout the week on the radio too. But, Connor Embry, the wide receivers coach, who really has no business being here on the staff. We have Todd Pinkston, who's a running backs coach, even though he played wide receiver. It's all stuff like that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And it's all it comes down to is Andy Reid has so much control over the team and the staff and the choices they make that it's gotten to where it's a little out of hand. It's almost too much for Andy Reid. And we even, today during his interview was asked about Dameon Pierce, the running back we just acquired 2 weeks ago from, getting released by the Texans and so on. And Andy Reid basically was alluding to the idea that Dameon Pierce might get the Tyquan Thornton treatment where he just has to sit out the rest of the season because he's not ready to be part of the playbook yet. And it doesn't really make any sense. He's a running back, which is an instinctive position first. It doesn't make any sense. Either the guy can play or he can't. And it seems like he was given a player who wanted to come to Kansas City, who had offers to go other places, wanted to come here. And I doubt he would have done that if he'd known he'd just have his ass put on the bench on the practice squad for the rest of the season, And so it's very frustrating. And I think that at the end of the day, this comes down to Andy just really showing extreme favoritism towards his people and players and so on. And a lot of it at the end of the day doesn't make any sense. It's gotten to where you're only hurting yourself and you're not open-minded enough at this point if you're Andy Reid. And that's unfortunate to say, but I think that's where it's at right now.
Yeah, I mean, Andy, I just looked it up. He's going, if he sticks around for next year, he's going into his age 68 season. And at some point, I think we're going to have to move on. And it also reminds me of Steve Spagnuolo. He's a guy that's never wanted to play rookies, never wanted to play guys that are just not ready to play yet. And I'm just like, we have guys who are ready on the defense. And, Spags didn't play him the whole year for whatever reason. So,
yeah, I don't really understand the Jaden Hicks thing because it's very inconsistent. Because 2 weeks ago, Hicks actually played a lot of snaps. And then this past week, he only played like 13. Meanwhile, Mike Edwards, who is a veteran, been around the league for a long time, who is not nearly as athletic as Jaden Hicks, got the start and played most of the snaps of the game. And then, of course, you got Shamari Connor, who really has no business on the field most of the time. But Jaden Hicks, who I think is a quality player, for some reason doesn't get the playing time he deserves. And I don't think the
It's
development is working for this team.
it's almost like a political thing where if you're not in the coach's doghouse, or if you make points with the coaching staff that you're going to play, and if we don't like your attitude, then you're not going to play.
I think that's part
Yeah,
of it.
they're not really looking at talent, which is what they should be doing right now, because they're not going anywhere this year. So, but I just know, speaking specifically about Steve Spagnuolo, I know he's a guy that does not want to play rookies and younger guys, and that's been his MO throughout his entire career. And so, I guess that's fine for now, because we're not going to win the Super Bowl anyway. But maybe that's a sign that we just need to move on from not just Steve Spagnuolo, but maybe the entire coaching staff of this team.
Yeah, I'm not going to go that far. As much as I'm sitting here and complaining about Andy Reid today, Andy Reid is somebody I want to keep on this staff. Yeah, at the very least, I want Andy Reid to stay. Now Matt Nagy can go, and like I said about other guys on the staff that don't make sense, Connor Embry can go, stuff like that. But Steve Spagnuolo is one guy on the staff that I do want to hold on to. He is the best defensive coordinator the Chiefs have ever had in their history, and maybe the best D coordinator in the history of the league. He's done a lot with a roster that lacks talent in a lot of ways defensively. He's been able to cover up a lot of lack of talent over the years with his terrific scheme. And I can think back to Anthony Hitchens and stuff like that, the linebacker spot, and those linebackers were not necessarily great during that part of Spagnuolo's first coming to the Chiefs. But for me, he's too damn good. Spagnuolo still has it. He still is a incredibly smart coach who calls a game in the right way, in my opinion, most of the time. And he might be stuck in his way with certain players, but Spags is one that I definitely want to hold on to.
I think it's a very difficult situation, because you look at the landscape of the NFL and you look at all these young coaches who come in and are very successful. And, I think the NFL just wants young coaches. And a lot of these guys are doing a good job. Meanwhile, you look at Andy Reid, who's going into an age 68 season. Steve Spagnuolo is going to be 66 next year. At what point do you pull the trigger on that? And I respect your opinion on that, Mike. Just on the fact that, like, you know a lot about the Chiefs. You grew up your whole life with the Chiefs, and you study them like basically your whole life. But at what point do we pull the plug based on your age?
I don't think the age really has anything to do with it right now for Spagnuolo, especially. Spagnuolo's a very healthy 66.
He's going to be 66.
Yeah,
and he's going to be 68. So they're not old.
Well,
I'm not sitting here trying to tell you that these guys are old bums. They need to retire. But
are they coaching like the game has passed them by?
At what point do you make that transition? That's all I'm trying to say. And I don't know the answer to that. I'm not sitting here trying to say, oh, just get rid of these old bums or whatever. I'm asking the question. I think this is the question that all Chiefs fans should be asking themselves right now.
I'm not worried about that aspect personally. To me, is he still coaching well? Is he still calling plays the right way? Most of the time, yes, he is. I think he's trying to do a lot of things this year, but he cannot cover up for the fact that this team cannot get pressure without rushing more than 4. So whenever we have our normal defense out there, we rush 4 guys. This team does not create pressure. They do not cause havoc. They do not get sacks on the quarterback. So he's having to blitz probably more often than even he would like to. But there's other times, I think, where he's just like, guys, someone make a play. I don't want to have to call a blitz every damn play. And it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. But I think that Spagnuolo, the way he's done, his brain is still terrific. So this idea about an age being a factor of any kind and finding a replacement, to me, it's not really relevant yet, because first of all, you have to have somebody who can come in and do close to as good of a job as him, which there is not any of that available anywhere. And you just, to me, Bill Snyder coached for K-State until he was like in his mid 80s, I think. I don't even know how old he is now, but Bill Snyder was, forever with K-State. But, they were still a great powerhouse school for many, many years, even as he got older. And when I say powerhouse, but I mean for the sake of K-State anyway, that they were a good team. Um, and for them, it was the thing where it could be a big drop off losing a guy like that. I mean, we saw at one point with Ron Prince came along at K-State, and the team was terrible after Snyder was gone, and then he came back and everything was okay again. But I don't know. I just to me the age thing, and we've seen many coordinators, especially maybe not head coaches, but coordinators, especially coach for a very long time. I think who was the Steelers coordinator? Dick LeBeau might have been who I'm thinking of. I feel like he coached forever into his 70s. But to me, you can be a coordinator, especially and get older, and it's not going to be a big deal by any means. It's not like the guy has uh, dementia or Alzheimer's and he's doesn't know what he's doing. I think the problem with Andy Reid is he's done the same thing for so long, the same way, that he just has a hard time looking at himself and self-correcting on things when he just is so set in his ways. And he's had a very successful career. I mean, he's had many more winning seasons than losing. And so for him, it's like, well, I got a formula, so I just got to stick to it. And I think that's part of Andy Reid's problem is that he's just a stubborn ass and got a big ego as well, where I don't think that's the same type of situation with Steve Spagnuolo personally. But anyways, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things whenever we look back at this season, I think this is going to be a thing where we're going to have the feeling and understanding of either the dynasty was over, this was the beginning of the end of the dynasty, or it was just a hiccup in a continuation of the dynasty because we could have the situation this year and really there's no reason for it. But then next year come back and hopefully revamp, retool, bring in a new fresh mind to help the offense. And if things get clicking again, they win 12 games, then it's just a continuation of the same dynasty we've always had. So I'm not giving up on the organization right now or Mahomes or Andy Reid, but they need to look at themselves like they all do. Everyone in the staff, everyone on the team needs to look at themselves. And Chris Jones just had his best game of the season by far this past week with the Texans. And to me, I looked at that and I go, man, so you're telling me all along it has been an effort problem for you this year? Like, Chris, like you just all of a sudden turn it on because you wanted to, because it's a do or die situation in that game against the Texans. Meanwhile, the rest of the year, he's been taking plays off. He's been slow, sluggish. And all of a sudden with the Texans, it's like, boom, turn it on and become the elite Chris Jones we've always known. It's like, really? So it has been an effort issue. So I see stuff like that with the players on the team. And I think these guys are tired, getting old and slow. And the whole thing needs to be changed up, everything.
I don't think it was an effort issue with Chris Jones. I think he's washed. All of us have known that he's been washed.
So how is he washed if he goes into this Texans game, literally has the most dominant D-tackle game we've seen maybe in the NFL this season, when you take into account his ability to stuff the run in the backfield, create pressure in the backfield by himself, and get sacks. Like, the guy was just an absolute monster in this game against the Texans. Probably the best D-tackle this season.
When you're washed, you can't show up every week. You got to save it up. And I think the same thing.
Okay, so like I said, it's an effort issue then.
No, I don't think it is. It reminds me of when Dwayne Wade of the Miami Heat in the NBA was on the downside of his career. He would show up and be a superstar in certain games, and then he would just disappear the rest of the time. And I think that's what it is with Chris Jones. Is just like, yeah, he got a lot of money, but he's not. He's not at the stage of his career where he can show up every single week. So I don't think he's just like picking and choosing when he wants to show up. I think it's just like, dude, he's old and washed in terms of NFL years. Like, I'm not talking about his biological age. I'm talking about his NFL age. He can't show up and perform every single week. And so that's what it is with Chris Jones. And he knew in this past week that we're freaking done. We're freaking done if we don't win this game. And so that's why he showed up the way that he did. And you just, you can't expect a lot from Chris Jones, man. You can't expect.
No, but
then
at that point, if what you're saying is true or whatever, then we have to look back still at what Veach did to pay him that money. Basically paying for past performance, not future performance. At that point, because whenever you go to pay a guy who's coming up on 30 years old as he was during that contract negotiation, it's like you know that at that point in his career, it's probably only going to get worse from there. And he got paid a huge piece of money, and I mean, to me, it's like, okay, well then, if this was going to be what happened, was we're just paying for past performance, then you're putting us in salary cap hell, which is all I heard about about the former GM from people. And so to me, it's a mistake. I the Patriots always did it the best. Like I think I talked about this recently too. Is that I used the Richard Seymour example. How when Richard Seymour was getting a little bit older, the Patriots pay his ass? No, they didn't. They said we'll trade your ass to Oakland and good luck. And Richard Seymour was terrible in Oakland. And the Chiefs should have done the same thing with Chris Jones. And I know it would have been very sad and unfortunate for Chris to not be sticking around for the continuation of our dynasty. But you would have then had ammunition to then fill the pieces and not have to re-sign or trade for Derek Nottie and then hope the Bengals drop Mike Pennell to add more depth for your D tackles. You put yourself in a really bad spot by doing that, and that comes down to Brett Veach. And we already went over him last week, so I'm not doing it this week. I'll save that for a different day.
Bro, we talked about it last week.
I could talk about it every day, man.
This is the Kobe Bryant contract, and thank God that Tanner's not here to get pissed off at me the way
he's watching.
Like he couldn't stop interrupting me last week because he got so pissed off because I compared this to the Kobe Bryant contract. It's the exact same thing, man. You're going to reward a player for getting you rings, okay? And as a human being, that sounds like the best thing you can do, but it's not. As a GM, it's the worst thing you can do.
No, yeah, no, I agree, and like I said, paying for past performance is the main issue that I had with what went on there with that contract situation, rather than trading a guy who wanted to sit in the booth for week one while the Chiefs got screwed in a game against the Lions. So anyways, it was just it's been a frustrating season all the way around, and we could pretty much name any player on this roster. We could come up with a reason to have a problem with them at this point. You know what I mean? As sad as that is to say right now, we could pretty much anyone on this roster start nitpicking and complain about them, much is why this whole team needs an overhaul. So anyways, that's pretty much my thoughts on that for now. And of course, we'll spend much more time on that in the coming weeks. So anyways, we don't got to dive into it quickly or deeply by any means, but Chiefs do have this game coming up at noon Central Time against the Chargers. Chargers, like I said, just got that win, but they're very beat up. They had a lot of players on the injury report that did not look good at all. Justin Herbert is beat up. He's got that left hand injury. Keenan Allen did not participate in practice. I think McConkey had a little injury, but I think he's going to play through it this coming week. Let me see if I could find the full injury report from the Chargers here in a second. Normally Tanner is our fast injury report guy. So here we are. So
McConkey's not injured at all, I don't think.
No, he was limited in practice with a foot injury. So Darius Davis, wide receiver, did not participate. Will Dissly was limited. We don't care about Troy Dye, not really relevant. Herbert was limited with that left hand injury. Khalil Mack did not participate, but just on rest. So when you're in that point in your career, I think you deserve a couple days off for sure. Trey Pipkins did not participate with an ankle injury, and Elijah Molden, defensive back, did not participate either for the Chargers. Meanwhile, the Chiefs, for their participation, we had Hollywood Brown did not participate due to a personal reason. Wanya Morris did not participate. Jawan Taylor did not participate, and McDuffie was limited. Everyone else was full. And so that is the Wednesday injury report for going into this game. So McDuffie being limited with that knee injury probably tells me he's going to play. But, man, I thought Noel Williams did a pretty good job this past weekend filling in. I wasn't mad about it. I think he's more of an outside corner anyway than Trent is. Trent, to me, is just a nickel corner and really has no business facing guys that are above 6 feet tall. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it seems to come down to with him, which is, unfortunately for him, most great receivers in this game are over 6 feet tall. So, anyways, what are your thoughts on this game? Do you have a prediction or thoughts? And did the Chargers just go ahead and wrap it up for the Chiefs and get a W here in Arrowhead Stadium?
I think the Chargers are going to be cocky as shit coming off that win against the Eagles. Chiefs, I mean, why would you try at this point? Like there's no reason for them to try to cover that -5.5. That spread actually surprised me a little bit because I think a lot of people would expect the Chiefs to just pack it in and give up. But it is -5.5. So, yeah, I don't trust the Chargers at this point to win this freaking game. I mean, I should because I'm not a big believer in the Chiefs right now. I mean, they've sucked for I don't know how long. But for my pick, I'm looking at this 41.5 point over under. I think Chiefs are going to win here 24-17, which would put me that would put me right. That'd put me at the under, wouldn't it, Mike? 20 put me at the under?
Just at the under, yeah.
So give me the under here. Yeah, the Chiefs are going to win just by chance.
Okay.
Just by chance because the Chargers aren't that good, man. They're not that good, but
now there are the Chiefs. Yeah, I mean, the way I see this game, so they do have Omarion Hampton back in the mix coming off of that injury. He played this past week as well. Now Tanner always loves the overs, so he's over here chanting about the over and all that. Yeah, I agree about Noel Williams, but knowing this team, that's not going to happen. So, anyways, honestly, top to bottom, roster to roster, I think the Chargers are a better team than the Chiefs. Same time, they're very beat up in key positions, and I think that's going to be the thing that hurts them this week and the short week, by the way, playing after only 6 days versus 7 days. So to me, the Chiefs do probably get a win in this game. I know I picked the Chiefs to lose last week and the week before up to that Colts game. I think that I had the Chiefs winning, actually, no, never mind. I didn't. I had the Chiefs losing that game. But no, I do think the Chiefs end up getting a win in this one. It's going to frustrate half the fan base and probably make half the fan base happy that they got a win or feel warm and fuzzy for a minute again to finally get back on the winning table. So I like the Chiefs 20-17. I have the under because I do not think the Chargers are going to move the ball that well. I also know the Chiefs and the way they've done things, and they're not going to move the ball that well either. So for me, the under with the 2017 win for the Chiefs is what I got. So moving to 7-7 is my prediction for the Chiefs after this week. And if they take a loss, then so be it, man. If they take a loss, then hey, that's just going to help our draft position because unfortunately we got to play the Titans and Raiders before the end of the year's up, and those are probably both going to be wins. So I'd like to get our draft pick somewhere around 16th overall would be cool. But we'll have to see how that all unfolds, I suppose. So, anyways, ready to move on to the final subject of the night?
Easy money.
Easy money bet.
Look at Tanner popping in all of a sudden, last minute.
He came in. You know what he did? He came in to rescue me because he figured out that I had COVID last week and I can't talk right now. So.
All right,
good on you, buddy. Good on you.
So does this mean, Tanner, you have the stats from last week that we can name off?
I do have the stats here, but if I get pulled away, I get pulled away. So, yeah, it's just how it is. But all right, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Start with the worst.
Are you seriously? Did you just wipe your nose because of COVID, dude?
Look at him.
You got COVID. Go take a test,
man.
Right.
No, or start with the worst.
I know you got all those tests in the bathroom.
He's
just
over
go
here
take a test.
Snotting on live TV, dude.
Hey,
well,
thanks,
you farted.
Bro.
Wipe it out.
You farted. And now you're over here snotting all over the place.
Up, man.
Live on YouTube. What's wrong
now
with
all of a sudden,
you are a sick bastard, Tanner.
Now all of a sudden, what happened to the JG?
God.
Now all of a sudden, his throat was constricted. Now all of a sudden, he doesn't care. He can talk all day long. Hey, man, did you take that COVID test?
He needs to wipe a lot of things.
If you're positive, I want you to get off the friggin' show right now. I don't want to see your face again ever for the rest of my life.
Nasty,
you have COVID,
nasty
dude?
Ass.
I want to show me your test. Can you put it live on the live stream?
I feel bad for the
Show me
viewers
that
having.
test.
I feel bad for the viewers having to see that, man.
Unbelievable.
Look at him. Eat a pizza while you're at it.
Lasagna. Get it right.
Yeah, lasagna.
If
All
you're
right,
not
let's
going to
get into
talk,
it
I
here.
will, man.
Jesus fuck, dude.
He lost.
Let's get into it
Is he
here.
going to tell us the stats?
His throat.
Yeah,
throat
I
can't
will.
talk either.
You guys won't
What's
let
he
me
doing?
speak.
Who won't let
We're
you
good.
speak?
Jason, and you. Holy cow. All right, let's get into it. Let's start with the worst of the group here. JG had Cleveland -4. Shadur Sanders said, nope, we're not doing that there. Jason has his one pick being a one loss there. Mike, you went 1-1 last week there. You did hit Texans +3.5, but Dallas and Detroit under 54.5 did not happen. Pretty high scoring game there. So 101 for Mike. I had another 3-2 day. Once again, I cannot win on Sundays to save my life. We had CD on Thursday night over 81.5 rushing plus receiving yards. He went way over that before he got taken out for a concussion protocol. We had Jalen Hurts over 190.5 passing yards. Thank you, overtime, for that dub right there. A little word there. And then I had Robert Morris -1.5 going against Green Bay. On Thursday night, they won by 2. So we got that dub there. We lost on Chase Brown over 70.5 rushing yards. I don't know. I just don't understand the Bengals and what they do. But I had Xavier Worthy over 3.5 receptions. They threw it to him. He caught 3 balls. Never got another opportunity in the fourth quarter. So we decided to throw it to Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce and Kareem Hunt, but not Xavier Worthy. So is what it is, whatever. So 3-2 day for me. So that puts us the Buffoons here. JG 7-8 going into week 15, not 16. That some of you guys might see the title. 10-15 for Mike, and 13 for 20 for myself. So that puts the Buffoons at 30-43, 41% win percentage. We did go up a little bit going into week 15.
All right, so that basically means that the JG is he's not a goat of a lot of things in life, but he is the goat of this year so far. So why don't I just go first? Can we lead out there, Tanner? Or do you have a more important bet that you would like to throw out before I go?
Oh, I got a good one, but mine are last.
You got a good one? You gonna go last? All right, dude. So, all right, man. I got so pissed off at losing and going 0 for 1 last week that I'm going to give you 2 bets this week, which I don't typically like to do, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, ATL at the Bucks. Falcons at Bucks. Baker Mayfield is going to win this game, and he's going to win it by a lot. This is a throwaway game for ATL. Atlanta Falcons. I don't know why in the world that you wouldn't even show up for that game. So I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Bucks -4.5. I believe in Baker right now. So that's my first one. Other than that, I'm going to go with the Jets. Jacksonville -13.5 versus the Jets. Jacksonville's on a little bit of a heater right now. And so they should be getting a little bit cocky, if not a lot cocky. And in no way, shape, or form should they be trying to beat the Jets by more than 13.5 points. So I'm going to take the Jets plus 13.5 points. That's an amazing spread. And that's my second easy money bet of the week.
What was the line for the Bucks game?
Bucks -4.5. The Bucks will cover.
Fun fact: Baker Mayfield's 2 for 11, I think, on Monday. Is it Monday Night Football or whatever primetime football?
Yeah, he sucks. He basically sucks, which is why you should bet with the JG on this game.
All right, Mike.
All right. I got 2 as well for you guys. And I guess to start off, it makes the most sense. I've been doing this lately where I'll tell you guys my score prediction for the Chiefs game and then bet with it. So in this one, I had the Chiefs to win 20-17. Right now, the spread between the Chiefs and Chargers is 5.5 in this game for the Chiefs' favor, of course, which to me is quite a spread given the circumstances, given the way that the Chiefs have played this year. And so I will take the Chargers to cover 5.5 on the spread. And, I still have the Chiefs to win the game, but if things don't go right like they haven't for most of the year, then I got the Chargers to help me out a little bit and give me that win on the bet with that 5.5. I do not see the Chiefs blowing them out by any means or winning by 7 points or more. I would be surprised at this point if that was to happen. And my next one, this one's a tough call, but I got to roll with the way the Donkeys have been playing. They just keep figuring out a freaking way to get a win, and they are the underdogs at home against the Packers. So, they're playing the Packers, of course, but they are in Denver, and the spread is 2.5. So for that one, I got to take Denver plus 2.5 in this situation. And there's a good chance they just win the game anyway. I think Sean Payton's done a really good job finding ways to win, even despite sometimes Bo Nix not playing the best. And they have a great defense. And I think the Packers are a team, whenever you face an elite defense like the Broncos have in the pass rush, that Jordan Love can sometimes fall apart. So I just think Denver being at home especially is what really nails us in the coffin for me, that Denver to cover 2.5. And unfortunately, that's the way I got to roll with that one. So those are my two picks for the week.
Yeah, Christian Watson's lines are wild. They're like minus 137 for over receptions and over passing yards, almost in the minus 140s. So it's crazy. All right, here we go. Jason, how many bets you want? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
I want from you, Tanner, I want -3 bets because that means I'm going to win all of them if you don't put in
5 it is. All right, here we go. Joe Burrow over 266.5 passing yards here. He's going against Baltimore at home again with Cincy here. They're going to have to pass the ball. I realize Baltimore, Cincy sometimes play close. Joe Burrow blew him out his opening game back. So we're taking Joe Burrow over 266.5 passing yards. We're also sticking with Chase Brown. I know he had a bad game last week. He had a couple touchdowns, but he didn't do jack on the ground or receiving. Oh, you want to stick around for my NBA bet, Jason? I got an NBA bet for you.
I'll be here, man. I'll be here in spirit.
Dumbass. Chase Brown over 74.5 rushing plus receiving yards. We'll take the over on that one. Hunter Henry over 40.5 receiving yards coming off the bye. He's been a big part of the Drake May offense here. So we're riding with that one as well. And then we're riding with Cincinnati plus 2.5. Cincinnati plus 2.5. They're not favored at home against after blowing out Baltimore. Baltimore stinks, guys. They're bad. So we're going Cincy plus 2.5. And then finally my NBA bet for tomorrow. Sengun over 31.5 points plus rebounds. He's hit this a lot the last 15 games here. He's had a good streak. I think he continues on here. So give me Sengun over 31.5 points plus rebounds.
All right. Well, so how many picks was that? 3 or 4, Tanner?
5.
Damn, you went through those 5 quick. Last week you had 5, and it took you 15 minutes to get through them.
I can't break it down like I want to, so that's your best breakdown I got today.
All right. Well, I see you're trying to climb back at least, so you kind of have to bet a little extra to come back in the mix. Like I said, I'm 10 and 15 because I had a bad week the week before, and so I was right there to get back to 500, and then I fumbled.
I had a couple bad weeks,
Yeah,
so now I'm at
Thanksgiving
3 and 2. You know, you keep going.
All right, so now I've just been chipping away at it, hitting 2 at a time, hoping to get 2-0 on this week. So we'll see how it goes. But I don't know if JG's hacking up a lung or what he's doing, but he has left the area. He says he has COVID, so he's going to take care of that or whatever he's got to do. I don't know, but so anyways, Tanner, I said most of my piece on this show. I know you were listening. Did you have any input you just wanted to throw out there for the people listening and about the Chiefs? Just to give you an opportunity to say something if you wanted to.
Start Noah Williams. That's all I want. Play the freaking guy. Play the rookie. He's better
but
than what we
if
got.
Trent McDuffie is healthy to play, it's going to be the same old thing. McDuffie's going to be on the outside. Noah Williams goes back to the bench. And that's it. And Shamari Connor plays 100 snaps.
I know. That's the sad thing of it all.
You know, are we
That's why I
getting
keep
close enough,
saying,
Tanner, you think, in the season to where we can start playing Jalen Royals?
No.
Not yet?
You won't see him.
Why would we say we lose this game against the Chargers? Why not get Jalen Royals out there?
Because that's not what Andy Reid does.
Well, but that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying
what I'm saying is you will not see Jalen Royals unless there's a couple injuries.
No, I know. It takes a whole year to figure out the offense, apparently. He thinks every player is a freaking idiot and can't figure out his system, I guess, within 6 months. So, anyways, that's been the MO for a while. That's
my big say. Throw it to Xavier Worthy, start Noel.
What are you doing
and forget the other two guys.
I keep all right. Well, Fancy Pants is finally getting out of here. I don't know what he's been doing, but making lots of noises in the bathroom, though. I'll tell you that much. He can't figure out how to leave the door. He can't unlock the door. He's locked himself in. Are you going to be able to get out? You can't get out of that. You can't get out, can you? He locked himself in.
Tanner, I want to hear your opinion on Brett Veach. That's what I care about right now.
I don't have an opinion. I don't care right now.
That's your hero. That's his hero, dude.
We could talk about it during draft time after the season.
Yeah, we'll talk. We're still not even the middle of December really yet. So we have plenty of Brett Veach discussion at some point coming up in the next few weeks. So
guys, hey, I think this team's still alive. I'm rooting for it. I'm having optimism, and we keep going. So, we play a playoff game next week.
I'm not going to root for them to lose. I want them to win, but if they don't win, then I'm okay with that too. That's why
I don't want none of this tanking business. I don't want to see drafts on X. I'm tired of it. Let's keep playing toward. Let's keep focusing. Like there's optimism of winning until we have the elimination tag on our backs. We're 5% at the time. There's still a chance. Then there's still a chance.
That could be after this weekend. So just saying.
There's still a chance. And
then we'll go win 3 in a row just to screw up our draft pick further.
I don't care. Actually,
I'm just saying. All right.
We got Patrick Mahomes with the 21st.
Yeah. All right. Well, give any final thoughts, Tanner? I know you missed most of it. So
have you caught this drama developing with the Michigan State guy or Michigan coach Moore?
In college football?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Last thing I saw was Ryan Day being very sad after he lost.
Sharon lost. Oh, the title game. Yeah, it's fine.
I'm talking about
Sharon Moore. So Sharon Moore got fired from Michigan, and then found out that he cheated, and now there's a bunch of rumors going around, but like he's been arrested after he got fired.
Nice.
And cheated, and apparently there's a bunch of incidents going around, and some executive.
So he did an investigation, and then he got arrested.
He's married
somebody
too.
else could have had that happen one time.
It's wild.
Not here anymore.
It keeps developing. So
you push the boundaries too much, man. Eventually, it'll catch up to you. So it's the way it rolls. I guess before we get out of here, how do you feel about Phillip Rivers being back?
I think it's hilarious. Start Jason Bean.
I want him to go out and throw 3 touchdowns. I think it would be great to see him throw 3 touchdowns.
I think it'd be great.
But I have a feeling it's not going to end that way. I think it's going to be a very sad ending for Phillip Rivers.
I think it'd be great if he just went out and torched him.
Phillip Rivers, early in his career, went to the playoffs and played in the playoffs on a torn ACL. He's a pretty tough guy. That's for damn sure. So he's got that old country boy in him for damn sure. That's how he is. So I hope he does well. I want to see him play well. Too. I think it'd be interesting for sure. But I'd be surprised though if that's how it turns out.
It's time to start Jason Bean. That's all I'm saying. It's time for Bean.
Well, I got to make sure that Coffer Boy over here didn't get me sick, so I got to take some emergency. and clear the air in
Grape
this
juice, vitamin C, dude. There you go. Double
Mhm.
dose.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of weird sickness he has. You know what's funny? This guy, he's sick all the damn time. You know, it's always something with him, and it's probably because we've seen some of his antics. He's nasty in his own way. He needs to be here next time so we can discuss this with his bath towels, and I mean we've seen him. We've seen some of the things he does. So not
No
surprised when he gets
craziness.
sick.
Shit.
I figured out why I was so sick last year for a while because I had so I'm never buying these water bottles again. You know, the ones with the flip mouthpiece on it. You know, and
Mhm.
it's kind of like got a rubbery texture, right? It's like a
Yeah.
bite piece. And I was just putting water in there. That's all I ever used it for was water. But um, I was leaving it in my work vehicle for a while, and I would just refill it. And I think I figured out that was the problem. I needed to take it apart piece by piece and actually wash that thing. So I think I kept
So you were
getting myself sick. Is what I was happening.
so
It was
you
pretty
had
stupid,
mold
but
and shit probably in there a little bit
yeah,
or
I think
something
every
like
time
that.
because I remember at one point I went like 2 weeks without using it, and I was feeling better, and then I used it again. I got sick again. So I was like, well, I figured out once I took the whole thing apart, the little pieces inside of it, you know, the water bottle,
Yeah.
and then I started seeing some weird stuff in there, and I was like, well, that's probably why. So that was a lesson learned. Sometimes you learn things slow, you know. I might have been 34 years old at the time, but you know, you got to learn everything the hard way every once in a while.
And it never happens again, right?
No, I'll never buy one of those again. Even though I like
That's
it, I like the bite piece water jugs, but I'm never gonna buy one again. That was just bad idea. So, anyways, guys, wash your mouths, wash your water bottles, and wash everything else. So that's the only advice
Wash
I
your
have
butts.
today. So, all right. Well, I have said everything I needed to say today. We'll be back next week with a lot more, and hopefully some positivity. Maybe we can think about. Let's see, and go from there. So, all right. With all that said, then I will see you guys on the next one.
See you guys.
All right. Do I got to do the outro, Tanner? Are you going to do the outro? How do we do the outro? Oh, did you got it, Tanner? You froze. Where's the outro, Tanner? You messed it up, didn't you? You froze it. All right. Well, Tanner's gone. He doesn't care. Here's the outro, guys.